Hi there, this is Lisa Blair. You are probably watching this because you are considering contacting me or already have to do private psychotherapy sessions. And because I don't normally do introductory phone calls, I'm making this video as a way for you to get to know me on a personal level before you decide if I'm a good fit for you. So let's see, tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in Boston. I'm a New Englander. I was raised in central New Hampshire in a rural professional town in what's called the Lakes region in Guilford, New Hampshire. I was raised by my mother and father, and I also have an older brother. Let's see, so I grew up kind of in the country, and I went to public high school. I graduated valedictorian of my class. Oh, this is an interesting thing about me that a lot of people don't know. For my junior year of high school, I was a Congressional Page in the United States House of Representatives. So the Page program is actually no more. It got dissolved, but let's see. So I was there in 91 to 92 when Bush Sr. was finishing up his term and Bill Clinton was running for president. I met both of them. Yeah, that was a wild year. That was an awesome year of my life, actually. I loved that experience. I was there for my whole junior year. Like I said, so I went to school in the Library of Congress building, which is across the street from the Capitol building. I went to school there in the morning from 6:45 a.m. till 10 a.m. and then walked across the street to the Capitol building and worked till 5 p.m. or later as a page. And then our dorm room, so to speak, our dorm was an office building that's actually since been demolished. But that was about 2 blocks in another direction on Capitol Hill. So it was wild. It was an amazing experience. I loved it because I lived in a very, very white, very homogeneous town in New Hampshire. And this was so great for me because I get to meet kids from all over the United States, from all 50 states, from all backgrounds, all walks of life, ethnic backgrounds and racial backgrounds and religious backgrounds, and made really close friendships with these people that I'm still friends with today. That was an incredible experience, very eye-opening in such good ways for me. I did know that I didn't want to go into politics after that year, but it was an amazing experience for my own growth in the world. And then after high school, I went to college at Middlebury College in Vermont. I majored in sociology, anthropology, and minored in studio art. And then after college, I lived in Burlington, Vermont for 1 year. And then I moved out to Portland, Oregon with my boyfriend at the time, who was my boyfriend from college, who lived in Oregon and wanted to go back there. And I was, like many kids who grew up in New England, at some point we kind of want to go west. We get an itch to go west, and I did that. So I moved out to Portland and had a series of administrative type jobs. And at one point, I was working as the administrative assistant for the vice president of human resources in a corporation. And it was, a good job, great benefits, of course, but the 9-to-5 corporate world was not for me. And I wasn't so interested in pursuing a career in administrative roles. And I really was interested in psychology and psychotherapy and counseling. So my partner at that time was a client of a therapist who was also running the school at the Process Work Institute. I'm going to say more about what process work is in another video, but basically it is it's an offshoot of Jungian psychology, Carl Jung. So it's a depth psychological approach. started by Dr. Arnold Mindell and his colleagues. And so they have a school there in Portland, and they had an opening in their office administration to help run the school. So I applied for that and got the job, and I worked there for 8 years in person in Portland before I moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico, where I worked there for them at a distance for 2 more years. So while I was working there, I started taking classes there, and pretty soon I had entered both their Master of Arts in Process Work program and their diploma program, which were slightly different at the time. The programs have evolved in different ways since then. And so 4.5 years later, I got the 2 degrees, the MA in process work and the diploma. And to people outside of the process work community, it doesn't really mean anything to get your diploma in process work, but inside the community, it's the only degree you can get that certifies you as a process worker. And also, it's the highest level of clinical work that you can achieve. The program is heavily skill-based and personal growth based. It's kind of an awareness approach to working with people. And to graduate, it requires, gosh, I can't remember the numbers, but several hundred hours of personal therapy and also several hundred hours of working one-on-one with clients and getting clinical supervision and working on case studies. So it was an excellent training in clinical work, and also really emphasizes personal development. So it's a big part of it. So I graduated there in September 2009. So I've been practicing for 10 plus years since then. And let's see, I'm making this video, it's June 2020, and I'm 45 at the moment, so gives you my age. And then I actually met my partner, my current partner, at the Process Work Institute. David Bedrick, some of you know him because you followed him on Facebook, and maybe that's how you found me. He's written 3 books and has quite a devoted Facebook community and following. So David and I met while we were both pursuing our studies, and so we've been, let's see, together for 17 plus years, married for 15 plus years. And that's one of my interests, actually, not just in my personal life, but in my professional life as well. I spend a lot of time thinking and writing about emotional intimacy in long-term romantic partnership. And I'm actually about to begin my Ph.D. program at the California Institute of Integral Studies, where I will be focusing on that topic exclusively. So that's exciting. That's a new thing that's coming up for me in the fall of this year. And let's see, I'm also very interested in internalized sexism. My practice is a women-centered practice, which means I almost exclusively work with women. And so in addition to my process work training, and that has a certain approach to working with individuals in therapy, which again, I'll talk more about in another video, but I also bring a kind of women's empowerment, my own flavor of women's empowerment to my work with women. Oh, right, I am also, identify as a highly sensitive person, an HSP. A lot of my clients also identify as HSPs, so I find that's a big part of my work as well. I've written several blog posts about that and have some videos about that, so if you identify as an HSP, definitely check out those blog posts and videos to learn more. Also in 2012, David and I started a small independent publishing company, a small press called Bellysong Press, and we have since published 8 titles, all from process work therapists, process work colleagues of ours. Let's see, so it's all nonfiction. The topics range from alternatives to mainstream psychology, to parenting, leadership and power, medicine, psychiatry, relationships, activism, all sorts of good stuff. You can see our titles at bellysongpress.com. So we've been living in Santa Fe since November 2009, so just over 10 years. Gosh, we never thought we'd be here this long. We thought, I'll give it 2 to 5 years, but it's actually turned out to be a really great place for us. And yeah, the weather, oh my gosh, I can't complain about the weather. It's gorgeous blue sky, like 300 days a year. The sunshine is amazing. The nature is amazing. We live on a street called Canyon Road, if you've ever visited Santa Fe, which is such a beautiful, very quaint street lined with art galleries. And you can see the mountains in the distance. Yeah, it can be a small town that can get a little irritating. You kind of want to get out of Dodge, but it's easy to get around in. It's very easy to live in. It's a very creative atmosphere here. Lots of room for creative expression and lots of support for art in the community. So that's a good atmosphere. And it's a good place to just have a peaceful life. So it's a nice base for us. We do like to get out and travel when we can. Of course, we can't at the moment with COVID, but we go to New York several times a year. We absolutely love New York, the diversity of New York, the abundance of life in every way in New York is just fabulous. And visit other places as well. I'm a runner. I like to run. I walk. I love nature. I love the blue sky and sunshine and the birds and the trees. I journal every day. I like to cook, mostly vegan, Ayurvedic food, but not only. Yeah, anything else about me? Oh, right. I spent a bunch of years being an artist. So after I moved to Santa Fe, it took a while for my private practice to get up and rolling. And so I had a lot more time on my hands, and I ended up getting an art studio that I rented for 6 years. So I just moved out of that studio at the end of November 2019. And I was there, I would go there 2 days a week, 2 nights a week for 6 years, working on my art, mostly a fine art photographer. But I also did some weaving. I had a loom for 18 years. I did some painting, some abstract painting, some drawing, some sewing. So a whole lot of artistic endeavors. I'm definitely a creator at heart. Actually, I have a whole website devoted to just my art. It's lisablair.com. So you can see that there. And let's see, I'm an introvert. I'm an INFJ for those who track the Myers-Briggs. I'm a Libra. And gosh, yeah, can't think of anything else that's super noteworthy, but that's a little bit about myself. I hope that gives you a sense of me on a personal level. And thanks so much for watching. Take care.